Hello again, and welcome once more to the Photography Pod with me, Steve Vaughan, and my good mate Nick Church. Nick, how you doing, mate? Are you flooded over down there in the West Country? Are you in a boat?
It's been absolutely torrential. It seems like from New Year, it just hasn't seemed to stop raining here, and it's a pain because we're in the process of selling our house or trying to sell a house,
right?
And somebody said, "Oh, the garden's not very pretty." It's like, blimey, middle of winter, we've had like 2 weeks of rain. It's not going to look great.
It's not like a bowling green, is it really? No, you've had torrential monsoon rain for the last 3 weeks. So
it's been a bit depressing, but it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Other than that, all pretty good here. Still got my cough, which is great. Really pleased about that.
Got one as
to
well
have
now.
that.
Yeah.
And we're a bit fed up of cleaning every time someone comes to visit the house. And then looking at the Ring doorbell to see how long they've spent, if they've left in like 12 minutes.
Oh, of course, yeah. And they walk around the house inspecting, yeah.
yeah. But this we've got a second viewing, and they were there for 35 minutes first time, so that's pretty good.
Wow, that's not bad. Yeah. Do you put the pot of coffee on? Because that's one of the tricks you're supposed to do is put a pot of coffee on so they smell coffee when people walk in. Is that one of the things you do? I haven't sold a house for years.
We haven't done that, only because I think it might be a little bit on the nose nowadays. But what they have said is that we've got a little log burner in our sitting room that we should always light the log burner. Just people love it.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference. Yeah.
Even if it's July. Yeah.
I do always think about who's coming around, because they give you the name of the person that's coming around. So I do a bit of Facebook stalking and see what they're into. And like sometimes if I can see that they like music, I'll get out an extra guitar and put it in the studio here, so they can sort of say, oh, maybe I could do some music recording. Or
here's a tip, mate: if you find out they're into swinging, perhaps you want to try something different.
Exactly.
Let's not go there. Yeah. So you've been super busy for the last couple of weeks. So have I, for different reasons. But you go first. So I know you've been doing a lot of work. You've been doing a lot of events. You've been doing some talking. So.
I've been
what
doing
have you
a lot
looked
of
at since we last
talking.
did the pod?
Well, yeah, it was all the amount of talking I've had to do. This is why I was worried about my voice, because last time I got a cough, I lost my voice and thought this is going to be great. But I had like a perfect 2 week period from a business perspective. The first week was going to be working for SJP. So
St. James's Place, if you're not in the UK, it's a finance business.
It was doing their what used to be called just meetings, sort of company-wide meetings, but now they call them town halls, because that's the way that's like the new LinkedIn speak, I guess.
It's very American.
Yeah,
very American.
Exactly. So, but it was a full-on live stream to 3,000, 4,000 remote team members and 200 people in the room.
Wow.
But it was mega. So they wanted 2 screens with slides on those slides being projected to the remote viewers as well. Those all being synchronized. We had 4 camera angles, and it had to fit into their very specific network, which is Teams based, and it's a very locked down network, as you imagine. So it was, we'd done one before using the Atom Mini, the direct streaming from it.
Yeah.
But it had to be so many security workarounds on their network to get that to work. So we just ended up just going straight to Teams as a virtual camera, which was the one weak point in it, but it's fine. But it worked really well.
So the geeky me really wanted to know how you did this then. So you Microsoft Teams, and then you've got what effectively the camera has been seen as a webcam by Teams.
We have we use the Atom Mini
the Magic thing.
The video switcher and production mixer and stuff. That can you can either plug it into the internet and it will stream directly, and then it's got the big buttons on there, and you can change cameras and audio sources and stuff.
I've got one somewhere.
I love them. Really geeky things. It's great fun. It makes me want to be a TV producer. But they'll also, if you just plug them into a laptop, it'll see them as a virtual camera, a bit like I am now to you. So this is the same thing. So you just do that, and then whatever you're switching, you've got all these pro cameras connected. Right. It's just pushing that as the virtual feed.
And they're all connected with HDMI.
They were HDMI this time. Last time they were SDI, HDMI this time.
Right.
But it went really well. It was good. Audio. The audio was a tricky one because they didn't. I think you might have had problems with wireless audio at some point, interference.
Yeah.
So they had a requirement that they wanted UHF, wireless microphone packs and things.
So not the sort of Rode and
exactly
DJI type Bluetooth, not Bluetooth, but 2.4 gigahertz, aren't they?
They wanted no 2.4 gigahertz stuff. So, but that had an extra complication of needing a pretty big audio setup, a mixing desk, and
Right.
all kinds of stuff. So yeah. Anyway, where I was getting was this was 2 days of work setting all this up, running the stream itself, or being part of the team running it.
Wow.
And that was that week. And then the week after, I had talks at the Society of Photographers in London. So I was going for 3 days to London to go and do the talk, then look around the show. Anyway, the SJP moved that meeting to the same week. So basically I was interleaved. And the only way I could do it was to do all the setup and training I had to give on one day in Cirencester, this is where SJP were based.
Yeah.
Then that night go to London.
Which is about 100 miles away for people.
Yeah. So I got there about midnight to the hotel, did the talk the next day, then I had to come back to SJP the next day, did that talk, and then went back to London again the day after, because I still went to, I had partners for the academy and stuff to catch up with, and I wanted to go in, and so I had to go back, and but it was fine. So I was pretty done in after that week, but it was good.
Just back to the St James's Place live stream, because you and I spoke about that, and you asked whether I could help on the audio stuff, and I said, look, I know a bit about audio, but that's sort of way up my pay grade. It kind of reminds me of the things that we were doing during COVID. I remember doing a live stream of a wedding for somebody once where I had an A10 Mini and 3 cameras all connected up by HDMI cables, and I think I charged nowhere near enough for doing it. And I come over with a cold sweat even thinking about it now. But the thought of doing that with 3,000 people on the end of it,
it is.
Does that not freak you out? Or?
It does a bit. But so one of the roles I had was to look at I always go into these things and say, right, what's going to happen if that goes wrong? What's it? If that goes wrong?
Sure.
Because it's like anything, it's live. The slightest bit goes wrong. It could be a slightly dodgy cable. It's just dead air for everybody. And it's a nightmare. So I had things like even if the A10 Mini went down, we had OBS running, and we would just take the wide angle feed from one of the cameras, plug that straight in. I had a USB dongle. HDMI dongle, so we would just have one camera source, audio's mixed from the mixing desk, and we'd go that way. So everything had a failover, something to put in place that would hopefully keep things running, at least, even if not to the same level. Yeah. The time before we had, I'd installed a space, what they called the Elon Musk's internet. I've gone blank.
It's the Starlink.
Starlink, yeah. So we had a Starlink outside just in case the network played up. So we had that. We didn't have that this time. So that was probably the one thing that we couldn't accommodate if there was network issues. But
I hope you got well paid for it, mate, because it sounds like a horrendously complicated thing to do.
It was complicated, No, I did. Yeah, it was worth it. But it's not just, you can imagine like that. The live streams are funny because we're used to quoting for work, saying, right, that's the thing, and then there's loads of post-processing, whereas live streams are the reverse of that. You have to do all the work up front, and then once live stream's over, you pack it all away and go, and that's it. You never think about it again.
Yeah. So. And I must admit, that was one of the fun things about, because I probably did about 7 or 8 live streams for various people during COVID, or the photographers. You remember when we had sort of 7 and then 15 guests allowed at one stage?
Yes. Yeah.
And, I was doing all kinds of things. I live streamed a wedding using I forgot what it's called now. It's a little camera. It's like a little GoPro with all the gubbins built in.
Okay.
I forget what it was called now. I can't remember. Mimo. I think it was Mimo.
Just stream directly from it.
Yeah, in those days you could go out on YouTube, but now you need 1,000 subscribers to go live on YouTube, I think. But I remember being in a church in the middle of nowhere in Oxfordshire, and the bride had said to me beforehand, there's plenty of phone signal, because I can't have to use my phone to connect it. And I got there, no signal whatsoever. And I thought, I'm going to make this work. And the whole of the village was in the churchyard going to watch my stream on YouTube. So no pressure. But I remember I got an iPad with me on a different network, and I just about got a signal. If I stood still and didn't move with my arm in the air for about an hour, stressful. I got it to work, and I never again. But I was looking back, it was fun. But you're right, it was the fact that you could sort of pack away and say to the photographer, bye, enjoy the rest of the day.
And we know the sort of day that they're going to have, and we can just go up and have a lie down in a dark room for a bit just to recover. I had the same thing.
Get COVID on the end of one of them as well, which didn't help.
That's not that's not ideal. But there was one where we had, they wanted a live stream. I was just providing that in a local venue, and all fine. I'd done tests. I went to the venue, did a test. Yeah. Wi-Fi, absolutely rigid. That's fine. And then when I got there, they said, I said, well, where's all the chairs? It wasn't set up. They said, they decided to do it outside. I said, and outside at this venue wasn't just outside. It was about 200 meters away.
Oh, man.
And so I thought, oh, man. So I was really panicking. I thought I could use my phone and stream via 4G or 5G. But I just about managed to get enough of the venue Wi-Fi, but I had to have my laptop balanced as far as it could go with the cable being taut. So I had like tight cables just to make sure, because I couldn't move it anywhere else because I couldn't get a signal. That was pretty stressful.
Yeah, I bet. I live streamed a few funerals as well, sadly. Which,
I have.
Was part of the time as well. So, I mean, we're digressing wildly here, but the last time because Sam and I get involved in a local choral society from time to time, the last show I was in, which was Ghost musical, and I was the bad guy who shot him. Anyway,
makes sense.
Of course, typecast. But what was incredible, blew my mind from an audio point of view, is that the orchestra was in a completely separate room. So right across the car park, it's a school hall, proper theatre, but a school hall. And all the orchestra, all the band were in a separate room, and they all of their mics and instruments were going to DA converters, and everything was coming across the car park into the auditorium with just a single Cat5 cable. Incredible.
Oh gosh.
And it sounded fantastic. I mean, it's just incredible, the technology that we can do. Anyway, we digress wildly. So you gave a talk at the Society of Wedding and Portrait Photographers.
They had the way it works there is they do a day of masterclasses on the first day, while in a different area in this hotel. So it was at the Novotel in Hammersmith.
Yep.
While the event, the trade show part is currently being set up. Then the next several days, that's the trade show. That's why I had to come back, because it wasn't actually running when I was just in the masterclasses bit. So
was it busy this year? Because I've been in the past, but normally aim just to walk around the trade show and see people we know.
It was quite. I mean, the masterclasses was full, so that was good. I was right at the end of the bill, which is tough, because these are what I didn't quite realise is that, having never spoken at that event before, I was just imagining the photography show where people kind of milling about going to different things. But these people that had sat in this conference room for all day, basically, all day for this program of speakers. Yeah. So, which makes sense when you think about it. But I was last on, I was thinking, oh man, they've been, I was just remembering back to university, when you've done a sort of 2 or 3 hour lecture, how just broken your brain is. So, but it was really good. And it was a very engaged crowd. And my talks are always
what was your talk on?
Upbeat. This was the Death Zone talk.
Switching
so
from
that one.
So getting enthusiastic to being a pro.
And getting stuck with 2 full-time jobs and not being able to really succeed at either of them because you just don't have enough time. So that went really well. I was a little bit worried because that one is really targeted at people that are on that ramp up to being professional. I became aware about halfway through that almost everybody there was professional. So I thought, right. So I'd spend a couple of hours in the day. Luckily I was last on, so I just changed the angle a little bit of the talk. Just to fit. You want to feel people have got value for their money. They paid quite a lot for their ticket. So
absolutely.
So I adapted it a bit, and it all went well. And then came back to the show later in the week.
I couldn't go this week, unfortunately.
It was what I really loved was that they've got all of the photographers that are up for awards. They've got like a gallery section.
Cool.
And there is some really, I was just blown away with some of the work there.
Some amazing work
was
there.
really good and such a high standard. So kudos to everybody that had work being shown there. Then wandered around. I caught up with colleagues at Light Blue Software, Evoto, our friends at Evoto. So I caught up with them, and that was good to see them. Camera brands. It was busy but relatively small. I mean, it's not. You can't compare it to the photography shows.
No,
night and day.
Coming back to the Birmingham this year in March.
But the camera brands were all there. I don't think Nikon was there. Canon had quite a good a big setup. Sony and Fuji, it almost seemed like they didn't want to not be there, because that can sometimes send a bit of a negative message. People wonder why. But there was also only a couple of people, with some lenses that you could try. It wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't rank high on their PR spend, I suspect. But it was nice to look at a few cameras and things. And
throughout my career, I've had that. When my career before I became a photographer, my career as a sales manager in lab equipment industry and stuff. The much conversations we've had about going to an exhibition. Well, it's not really worth going, but if we don't go, people will wonder where we are. That probably some of that goes on, I think. Yeah.
So you just find this, and I don't know about this one, but certainly when I was in a similar kind of environment in a different industry, you'd pay less for a smaller stand, and it'd be quite a lot, significantly less if you're on the edge.
Completely.
So sometimes you just have one there just so you're in the program right on the edge, the cheapest possible stand.
So did anything catch your eye looking around?
I looked around. I'm always drawn to the Fujifilm stands, and so I looked at the GFX 100RF.
We talked about
I think you've talked about before, and I'd never seen one in the flesh, and I didn't even know that's what when you pick a brand. I had my glass. I had my glasses on, so I couldn't see anything really close. So I couldn't see what it was, but I could, I picked it up. I thought, wow, this is such a unit. This medium format fixed lens. It's almost like a medium format version of their.
It's like X100 that's been working out, isn't it? Really,
yeah. And it's such a lovely camera. And bearing in mind, I knew it was medium format, but I like gear, and I'm really interested in the technicalities of it, and I like to have the best gear if I can justify it. But I'm not one of those people that researches endlessly about what models are around, how much they are. So I had no clue how much this thing was. I asked the Fuji person there. I said, well, how much is this one then? And she said, well, it's 750. And I actually said that. I thought, bloody hell, this is good. I might get one. And then she said, off at the moment. Off. So I thought, right, okay. So after discount 750, I probably can't afford it.
So it's about $4,000, is it?
Yeah, I think they had it. It was still a good price from what I understand now. It's about $3,500 or 3,300, something like that. It was, if you were in the market for one, it seemed like a really good discount. But
so let's knock it around a bit. So when we talked about it, I mean, I remember because Andreas Georgiades, who's the Fujifilm marketing manager, I know pretty well from the days we used to shoot Fujifilm, and I remember having a bit of a Facebook message chat with him about it, really. And I think it's a really brave camera. So it's 100 megapixel medium format in inverted commas, but it's certainly bigger than full frame anyway. It's the same sensor as in all the other GFXs. I think it's probably the same ones in the Hasselblad as well, made by Sony. But it's the equivalent of like a 35 millimeter in whatever that is in medium format terms. Yeah. But it's an f4 lens, and that was the thing that I was not too sure about.
Is there I suppose with the sensor size, that limit, that f4 do you think that's a constraint due to just keeping the lens as small as possible?
I think undoubtedly it's a geometry thing. It's a physics thing. Otherwise, the camera would be huge.
Because it wouldn't really work if it wasn't. I mean, it's much bigger than the full frame version. The other one. But it's still just about small enough. You could stick it in your pocket. It's just, and I think those
in a man bag. Yeah,
absolutely, definitely that. And I think those medium format files are just so engaging. I think the resolution and the quality of those files is what makes me really attracted to that as a format. And I think I've said to you before, I can see myself at some point getting a medium format camera. I just really love it, and I can't really
what you should
illustrate
do
exactly what it is about it, other than having such resolution at your fingertips.
Yeah, that's part of it. The dynamic range is stellar as well. So so what you should do is go to the Fujifilm UK site, and you can almost certainly, I don't know if you can do the RF, but you can certainly borrow a GFX. So the one I borrowed was the interchangeable lens rangefinder version. You can borrow one for free for a weekend as a professional photographer. Obviously, you have to put a deposit to do it.
How much is the deposit?
I think you have to just make sure you're not going to run off with it or something, really.
So John Smith.
I'll try and find a link and put it on the show notes as well. But you can do that also with the X series stuff as well. But we had a weekend away last Easter, and I had one. In fact, I'll ping you some files over. Not great photos, but just to have a play with the files. But the dynamic range on them is unbelievable, really. What you can do with them in terms of putting it around, pushing it around and stuff. For me, I think the attractive thing about that camera is the croppability, as you say, but in JPEG mode, because as we know, the Fujifilm JPEGs are gorgeous. And there's a dial on the back of the camera which basically changes the crop mode.
Right.
So what you can have effectively is in full frame terms, a 35 millimeter, a 50 millimeter, and an 85 millimeter lens all in one camera just by changing the crop mode.
And what resolution is that? 85?
I think it's still 50 meg or something like that.
Wow. Yeah,
exactly. So for one, and we're going to come on to this in a minute. It's a great segue if I wanted to look at actually. But as a walk around camera for a day, if you're going away for a weekend, what a great option, really.
Yeah. God, it would really just tick all the boxes, wouldn't it? Of not having bags again. What is in your bag then when you're, let's say you're going away for a weekend? I know you've got a bit of travel coming up, but if you're going away, what's in your bag these days, Steve?
Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a
pants
perfect
and
bag.
stuff. I mean, your camera bag.
Yeah, well, they'll be in as well. Yeah, pants, socks, all the boring stuff. Yeah. First of all, there's no such thing as a perfect bag for a weekend. So I've still been looking at bags recently. I'm probably going to buy another bag, even though I've got more bags here than Wex probably, but still. So yeah, I'm going on a fair bit of travel the next few weeks with my training business that I run in my old industry of lab equipment. So over the next few weeks, I've got to go to Dallas, Paris, Amsterdam, and Singapore. And probably not with Amsterdam and Paris so much, but certainly Dallas and Singapore. I'm going to have a couple of days to myself to have a wander around. So when I'm in Dallas, I'm going to try and crack the case of who shot JFK and who shot JR, and was it the same person? But in all seriousness, I'm trying to think about what to take. Because obviously you fly, you don't want to take too much stuff. So I've got a bit of flexibility, but without being, rucksacked and burdened down really. So at the moment on the list of what I'm going to take, but I'm really interested in your thoughts on this, is the A7C II that I'm using right now as a webcam with a 40mm lens. And that would be just my point and shoot.
What lens is that?
It's the 40mm. Hang on. As it reaches over to fetch it. It's that one. Have you ever seen that before? Focus camera? No, the camera doesn't want to focus.
What brand's that?
It's Sony.
Is it? So what's that? F2?
F2.5. So they launched, well, after the first C camera, the A7C came out, they launched 3 of these little stubby primes. Come on, camera, focus. So this one is a 40mm. There's also a 50mm and there's a 24. The 24, I think, is a 2.8, and they're G lenses. So they're not GM, but they're still G. Proper aperture ring. You can switch the click off and on, and there's also an AF MF button and the focus hold button, which I use actually for switching the silent shutter off and on. And it's a really nice little lens with a caveat that I find 40 a bit tight, if you pardon the expression. I'm used to shooting 35. I think we've had this conversation before. What I would love Sony to do is have a really good small 28mm lens in that format. 28 f2.8. There isn't one from the old original, but it's not very good.
And you find 24 a bit wide, do you, for your
24 is a bit too wide. 24 is on my focal length for weddings, but from what I'm doing, I was in Birmingham on Saturday doing some street photography around Digbeth and all the area around there where they've done lots of street photography, a lot of graffiti and stuff. And 24 would have been too wide for that, really. Having said that, then there's also the zoom option. I could go 24-105 f4. Yeah. Am I likely to do much stuff indoors with low light? Probably not.
It's then are you getting into the jack of all trades territory? That's you get a great photo and you're thinking, oh, I wish I'd got that on a 35 or my 40, or it's a tough one.
And there is a certain pleasure in having the discipline of just having one lens that you've got to make work really, and saying, okay, if I can't get it in, I'll go walk backwards or whatever. Or there's the lens I'm using now, which is the little Tamron 20-40 f2.8, which is a cracking little lens. I can't show you because I'm using it, but it's about that size.
That's an interesting focal range, that, isn't it?
It is. I've used it at weddings actually, and it's fine at weddings. And I've often used it for video. So 20-40. I bought it secondhand from MPB. There's a plug. If you want to sponsor us, let us know. I think I paid $350 for it or something like that. It's Tamron, so you don't have an aperture ring. It feels a bit plasticky, but optically it's great. So that if I want to go a bit wider, so I don't know. Or I could go the full whole hog and take Sam's A1, and 20-24 to 70 f2.8, the wedding camera. But do I want to lug that around? I'm not sure I do. So
I quite like my 33 Fujifilm, so the 50mm equivalent. I really like that paired with the X-T5. I think is a really nice.
So that's a 50
just
equivalent.
Good enough. It captures everything. And if you see something that's a little bit further away, then it's still fine. I'm trying to get into just taking one one lens if I can, because it's just, it just makes a difference between it fitting into the bag that I would normally carry around versus having to have a specific camera bag with multiple lenses in. And if I try and use a bigger like man bag type thing with lenses in, then you've just got loads of lenses in bags and inside, and it every time I'm getting one out, I risk pulling another lens out and dropping it, and it's just not a very good setup. Having it connected to the camera, I just find a much more engaging experience. So I can go and grab it. Is there right there, and that 50 just seems to do that, and it falls into, you know, like friend of the pod Marcus Ahmad, when he came on, and he said about having a longer lens on your camera and just take anything. If you need something really wide, just get your phone out, because it's going to be.
There is that. Yeah, I've got the 90mm macro around here, so I can take that perhaps. Yeah, of course there is the other option, which is to nick Sam's X100 and take that. You know, if I want to go Fujifilm, but I don't have a wider option. I did have the teleconverter for it, but I've dropped it.
I understand. You'd have to get a bag of sand that's the same weight, because she's got it on one of those platforms that can tell if it's the wrong weight, like in Indiana Jones, you know.
Just like that, yeah, she would know exactly, yeah, you know, and as soon as, if I didn't get the right bag, then I'd have arrows and poison darts going through my head, exactly, yeah. Normal weekend, really. So, yeah, what would you, so you take the Fujifilm gear and not the Sony gear? That's a good call, I think, really.
These days, I tend to leave Sony here just to have that distinction between work versus something else, and it means I can then shoot those really nice JPEGs without having to worry about.
That's true as well.
Adding to the editing queue, which is never going to get any smaller. I hear there's a. I don't know how recent this is, but you know the 56 Fujifilm. There's a new version, isn't there? There's a version 2, which is that WR range. So I've got the older.
Oh, is that right? I used to have I had the original one when I shot Fujifilm, which milk used to turn faster than that focused. That's what I've got, and it's a bit noisy to focus, isn't it? But I think there's silent there's the silent version as well of that. So, but I can't justify getting that. But it's that would be a nice addition to have. I do like the 56 lens. I think it's really lovely, and it would just mean if it was for a wedding, then I think I would find that a bit sluggish. I think, but for holidays and trips and things, it's fine. I made it work for the best part of 3-4 years, probably. Yeah. You know, and I shot with that and the 23 Fujifilm. So,
well, I think Mullins uses one, doesn't he? He does.
He does. He does. Well, he doesn't do weddings, of course, now, does he? Do you, Kevin? If you're listening, tell us otherwise. Having said that, you know, we're exiting the wedding business. We've just booked 4 weddings for the next couple of years. But summer next year is our finish. So when we do finally exit the wedding business, I might flog all the Sony stuff and buy some Fujifilm. Who knows? Yeah. So.
We'll get a Leica.
Now you're talking. Do I want a Leica? Now, come on. Why do I want a Leica? Tell me why I need a Leica. Because if you listen, Murray McMillan, I'm not asking you, I'm asking Nick.
Because it would make you look really cool, wouldn't it?
I've never looked cool in my 60-odd years on this planet.
This is the thing. You know, if you got to this age, by spending that money, this is your last chance for people to think, oh, wow, what a cool hipster that fellow is.
Said nobody ever about Steve Vaughan. I mean, we're leaping all over the place. I've got here on my desk a pile of photos I found out from my university days, and no, they're not black and white. They are colour. And they're not on plates. They are actually photographs, because one of my former mates or friends at university is organising a reunion, would you believe, in Birmingham.
Oh, that's good.
When did I leave university? I left university in 1984, Nick.
Wow, right.
So how scary is that going to be, eh?
Los Angeles Olympics.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah. I forgot that. Yeah. So there's about 10 of us going. Meeting up in London, and we're all going to have less hair and bigger bellies, and that's just the women probably. But
is that the only 10 that are still alive?
I think there are a couple who aren't with us.
I think there's some from my school. Same.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah. Slightly nervous. But I thought I might.
Yeah, we did one because Dawn and I went to school together. So,
did you?
We had a reunion. It's probably 10 years ago now, but it was really interesting because it was great to see everybody, but I felt the same, a little bit apprehensive. I've not kept in touch with, I don't think, anyone really from my year, but it's funny how people fall into those same sort of stereotypes, that suddenly you can see the same person that was 18 when you last knew them. Suddenly they're now 45 or 40, and I think we all kind of move a little bit towards what we were like. For me, it was quite interesting. It was good fun though.
Well, what I do, I keep in contact with some friends. Some of them I know listen to the pod, actually. Some friends that I used to work with when I got my first job out of university as a research chemist for ICI. And we all worked in a research facility in Berkshire, developing new agrochemicals. And I only worked there for a couple of years. And everybody went their different ways, but we've all kept in touch ever since. And we meet up every couple of times a year, usually in Birmingham, just to drink beer and talk bollocks, really. But that's exactly what happens. The behaviour that we used to have immediately comes back. You know, all the old Mickey take, particularly with me and my footballing skills, I lack of. Yeah, all that Mickey take comes flying back. Yeah. So, what was the app before the likes of Facebook and Instagram? What was the social media thing?
Friends Reconnected.
Friends Reunited. That's
Reunited.
It.
Yeah.
Caused loads of divorces and things.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think famously also had before the days of, I think even before the data protection laws that preceded
right.
GDPR, just everyone's email was on there. You could just contact. It was like a haven for people looking for affairs or stalkers that wanted to go.
I wish I'm neither, by the way.
Well, I was both, so no.
I've had one of those in the past, and that's another story. Anyway, while we're on about trips, so yeah, obviously I'm on a few trips for business now. I know you've got a vacation coming up, but I had this thought as a topic to talk about today. If you could go on any photography gig at any price without having to pay for it, whether it's professional or for fun, just like your dream photography gig, work or pleasure, I don't mind. What would it be? That's a hell of a question to come up with.
Wow, I think I'd like to do. Can I say 2 places? In fact, it doesn't need to be a specific place anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides, you just made the game up, so the rules are currently pretty fluid. And you haven't stated the rules yet, anyway, so it's not. I mean, I went to Iceland already, and Iceland is incredible, so I'd like to go back there. But I would love to go to South America, places like Colombia, Medellin, these sorts of places, and just take photos. It just feels at the moment whether that would be too dangerous to do, and I'd have to look at whether, you know, I mean, this is hardly like money's no object. It's fairly achievable, really. It's just whether you're going to get kind of killed by a cartel.
What would you be photographing? Landscape, people, street, all of those things?
People and street, I think. Okay. Architecture, people and street for that place. And I'd love to do more shooting in mountains as well.
Right.
So I'd love to go to the Himalaya and shoot there. So that would be. I'd have to do climbing as well, and but doing both is probably a bit of a
nightmare climbing. Yeah, I get vertigo on the bus. I've got a business associate who's just come back from Argentina. He went to Argentina over Christmas period. He went to the very bottom tip of Argentina, so like Ushuaia around that way, which he came out raving about. So yeah, South America would be fun.
I think it's just such a beautiful place, and we were watching Night Manager recently.
Yeah,
it's just, you know, I mean, obviously the filmmakers that choose these beautiful spots, but just what a fascinating place to get footage and photos of.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'd probably echo that. The reason I came up with this, I was watching the Petapixel guys. They were in Costa Rica photographing birds, which I know would be my wife's bucket list. I've got 2 really. So from a similar kind of vibe, but again very achievable. I've never done it. Is India. I've always wanted to go to India, and not photograph the Taj Mahal and all that stuff, but to photograph real India.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, the photographers have done it. I think Neil James has organised trips and things there in the past. So one which is totally unachievable, which I would love to do, would be to photograph as a professional photographer, or at least have access to being the photographer at something like the World Cup final.
Right.
Or you know, some massive sporting event, something like that, where you never ever would ever get an opportunity to do it. Only because I love sport, and imagine being, you know, on the side of the goal when, you know, whoever wins, you know, Harry Kane scores the winner for England in the World Cup final. Yeah, dream on.
I think. Do you know what? I don't think that's as unattainable as you say, because
be difficult.
It'd be hard, but I think only because of the competition to get there. I mean, the Creative Academy has been pretty busy with mentoring recently, and so there's you said about your booking. So one of my mentees, I think it's the right word, but it sounds
pupils.
Anyway. Students, mentoring. Let's say mentoring students. He had his first booking this week, so that's great. You know,
cool.
we started about a month ago, so he's great. But he also does sports photography.
Right.
likes the sports photography.
So do I.
And I saw him up at the Society of Photographers. Actually, one of the other reasons I wanted to go was to sort of just get some FaceTime with him. He was chatting to a guy on the Canon stand that works for the Telegraph doing some sport, and he was at a game. He does all sorts of games, like Premiership all the way down to lower league, and so he was at a lower league game last weekend. So he allowed this my student to go along and take some shots.
Wow!
And he's doing a championship game in a few weeks, and I think there's opportunity for Steve to get to do that as well. So I think there's, and he captured some fantastic shots when it was I think Hitch in town. So it wasn't like the big one. It wasn't sort of Real versus Juventus.
So I've done a lot of football photography in my time, and there is a tipping point really, or a level. So Premier League and stuff, you absolutely have to have the accreditations. You have to be, but if you go along to sort of the first tier below the Football League, normally they're okay for you to take a camera along. So I've been like Brackley Town and things like that. And, and it's quite fun, and like a Sunday league team, forget it, they're thrilled to have you there, really. But yeah, it is fun, and it really is another kind of challenge and another kind of pressure, really, to try and, not pressure because you're doing it for fun, but you know what I mean, to try and capture those moments in a different way to say a wedding,
And it's a real dive into your settings, isn't it? I mean, getting those, because you want to see the text on the ball, you want to see the bit of turf coming up, when they've kicked it, and so I think that'd be great. If
there's any sports photographers listening to us that would love to come on the pod, we'd love to. I don't know, we've had a sports photographer, have we?
No, I think we have.
I think no. I guess the other dream gig would be to spend like 2 months following England playing cricket around Australia and getting beat. Of course, we're photographing that. Of course, that'd also be brilliant as well.
Might have been a bit of a depressing one, the last tour, but
you don't worry about the result, do you?
No, I suppose not. Say about going to India. Funny enough, I was working in India. I was doing a training course in software, so a different thing. And that was where I thought, well, I'm going to India. This is somewhere I've never been before. I should get a camera, and that's when I got my first camera.
Is that right?
So I was planning to go sort of about 2 weeks later. So I thought I went and got a OMD EM5 or 10, I think. So I got a micro four thirds camera, a selection of little lenses, and just wandered around. I was in Chennai. Amazing. And so wandered around. Had a great time. And hang on, that was Malaysia. As I'm getting it mixed up. I went to Kuala Lumpur, but I did go to Chennai as well. Right. But that was the year later. I had a Nikon system by then. But it was. But I wasn't professional. I still wasn't. I still didn't have in my mind that I was going to become a professional photographer at any point. No. But it was just great to see. It is an assault on the senses going places like that, where it's just everything's so different. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I'm sure I'd be overwhelmed by it all, and almost certainly come back with a tummy upset because I'd be eating all the food because I love spicy food, as you know. But just to be able to not go on an organised tour, just basically say, and of course India's a very very modern and developed country in many places these days. But just to say, I'm going to get on and train from there to there and just see what it's like. I just would absolutely love to do that.
Yeah. Amazing, and that's the way that I suppose that's like, say, rather than going to Taj Mahal, where your photos are, let's face it, they're going to look pretty much the same as every other person that stood in that one spot. So you're going to see life going from Chennai to Mumbai or wherever, and just taking shots along the way, and wherever you happen to be getting shots. A bit like your man doing the Route 66 photography.
Jay, yeah. Hi, Jay, for listening. Yeah, he's brilliant at that, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I've been fortunate to go to Japan many times on business, and I've had the opportunity to do a lot of photography in Japan, and that's again on Sam's bucket list of places to go. So let us know, dear listener, if you've got a dream location in mind that you'd like to, or you have been to, or you'd like to tell us about, then let us know. We'd love to have you on the show and tell us more about it. Certainly,
Friend of the pod, Geraint went to Japan with after his university degree, went to specifically shoot the blossom, all the blossoms, and a
Sakura,
type of, is that the bird? There's the bird
up in Hokkaido. Is it the snow something?
Yeah, like a stork type bird. Yeah. So he took some fabulous pictures there. And Geraint, congratulations, got engaged.
I saw that. If only you knew a wedding photographer, eh?
Yeah. I know. Well, he's not really short. He's not short of choice, is he? I'd rather be a bridesmaid. I want to be a bridesmaid.
I don't want to know about that. Congratulations, Geraint. Great news, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's really good
to you both.
Yeah, to him and Meg. Yeah.
Our last topic for the day, and you put it down on the discussion for today, and a bit of a course correction, but back to what we were talking about when you were talking about with the SJP stuff, is microphones.
Just because I was out today battling more weather because I'm doing talks at the photography show, which is 14th to the 17th of March at the NEC this time again, so back in Birmingham.
Right.
And I'm doing 2 sessions there. So one of the bits they typically ask people doing talks to do is just do a bit of content that they can share. So I went out with me Osmo and used my DJI mic, and it started to tip down with rain as always, but I was just walking through the woods, so it was fine. I was a bit self-conscious using the selfie stick. Whenever anyone walked the other way, I stopped. So you just feel like such an idiot. But I don't know why that is, because I'm only working. I'm just working. But I just feel, so I stop, and then I have to take about another 10 minutes just to compose myself again to get back into the rhythm of it. Anyway, I just offloaded the footage, and the audio obviously is on the footage itself because I used the DJI 2 mic. The mic 2, yeah. And the audio quality is stunning on that mic. It is so good. I'm really impressed with it. And it made me think, because I'm also, today I delivered a wedding film that I shot. I did a hybrid wedding last year. And so for that, because I don't do video myself that often, if I've got a wedding film, like a cinematic type wedding film, I would typically get Jan, who's been on the pod, and he's got, a wealth of audio kit. I've got those wireless 2 Go's, which are very good, and they're probably similar quality to the DJI Mic 2. That's really good. Nice, rich audio. You still need to EQ. I'm pretty fussy with audio, but apart from that, if I've got to mic up more people, then I'm using my Sony TX650s, and the difference is night and day when you get audio from those. Which I'm sure and they still work, they're not faulty, but it used to sound fine to me, but now it just sounds deadly compared with those.
They're very tinny, aren't they? Yeah.
Really tinny. Yeah. You have to take out so much of the kind of upper mids and really whack up. Yeah. I had to add 2 EQ in Premiere because one wasn't enough to be able to give it the oomph it needed. So it's just really, really poor. The other one that's great that I don't have is the Holyland kit, and that is really, really stunning as well. That's really good wireless kit.
Is that also the 2.4 gig?
System? Yeah. But they're little. The good thing with those compared with the wireless 2 Go is they are really small. They're about the size of a 20p piece.
Oh, they're the ones that look like a dot almost.
Yeah, they're really good, and the newer version of them has onboard recording as well, like the wireless 2. That's one of the reasons I like the wireless 2 Go is it records audio on board as well as transmitting it. So these devices do as well. So if you do get any glitches, not great for live streams, of course, but if you do get glitches, then you've always got that content, the original audio, 32-bit.
There's a few things to unpick there, mate. I mean, first of all, the vlogging thing. So I was, as I say, I was in Birmingham at the weekend, decided to just go on a train and walk around Digworth. Digworth's an area was sort of a lot of the metal bashing places and stuff in Birmingham, which then became derelict and it's having a bit of a regen. And I was doing what I always do, taking pictures and vlogging. And this time I might actually do something with the video. I'm 90% finished it. So, but you do feel a prat talking to a camera when you're walking around, talking to an Osmo, a mobile, or a Pocket 3 or something.
Yeah.
But then we think about how many people do you see walking around with their phones like this, talking to the phone like that when they're on a phone call, and it pees me off if I can say that.
Or do the Apprentice way of where you just put it to your ear, but you put it on speakerphone, but have it to your ear. I think
it blows your ear.
I don't want to sound like we're such 2 old duffers, but I don't think young people. I don't think they know how to use the phone. I don't think they realise there's a microphone in the earpiece.
Don't start me on Gen Z who don't know how to use the phone. I spend loads of time training salespeople who are Gen Z who don't know how to use a telephone. That's another story. So there's no different really, is there? But you're right. You do feel a bit of a prat. So what I use for that is just the DJI Mic Mini, actually, the little one, which is only about the size of a 5p piece if you're in the UK. Okay. It doesn't record internally, but the fact it's small, I like, really.
Yeah.
I've got the Mini 2 system as well, which I do use for weddings. I didn't like it at first. Sorry, the Mic 2
system. The Mic 2, yeah.
I didn't like it at first. In fact, I sent it back. I might have got a 41 because it sounded terrible.
Oh, did it?
But I think they did some firmware gubbins, and as you say now, it's a really great system. And of course, it will do 32-bit float.
Yeah.
Have you got the little adapter for the Sony? If not, get it.
No. What's that do?
So, most of these systems take a 3.5mm cable and plug it into the mic input on the camera. Yeah, so you're basically taking a digital signal, converting it to analog,
Yeah.
taking it into the camera and converting it back to digital again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on Sony cameras, on the mic, on the hot shoe, you have microphone inputs there as well. You know that, yeah?
Yeah.
So DJI, I think it's about 25 quid, do a little adapter, which means you can put the DJI receiver on the hot shoe and it takes you straight into the camera digitally.
Okay. Right.
So you don't have to mess about with levels or anything. And it's ace. It's about 25. Just talk a second, I'll find it.
So guessing if you're not worrying about levels, that must be 32-bit audio, floating point audio as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he says, diving into his bag for the audio listener. Great entertainment here. Where is it? So that's the receiver. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you normally take a cable out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all this does.
That's DJI, you say?
Yeah. That sits on the receiver like that. And then it sits on the camera hot shoe. And takes it straight into the camera without having to mess about with audio cables and, potentially cables not plugged in properly or whatever. It's great. I really recommend it. About 25 quid, I think it is. I'll find a link to it. So effectively, the Sony thinks it's a Sony microphone.
Oh, right, does it? And that's the good thing, isn't it? Because having the cable, you just got to watch your levels, haven't you?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Whereas now you can't set the levels. Actually, the option to set the levels is grayed out because it just thinks it's a Sony camera, a Sony mic, should I say? So yeah, they're great. I do have the Rode system as well, only because I like Rode gear. Speaking to the Rode podcaster and the Rode mic and everything else, but I don't use it so much now. Really, it's a backup system.
I'm surprised. I'd have thought they would have brought out something a bit smaller by now. It seems to have been out because this has been out for like 3 years or so. That the wireless Go 2, 4 years.
I think they've got a mini system as well, but again, it's less powerful. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, I'm also amazed at is videographers that still use a shotgun mic.
Interesting.
And I've never had one. I think my son used to have one, so I've never really heard what the audio is like. But why do people use that? I mean, is that if you don't want any visible microphone in shot?
Do you do, to answer that question, when you do a video, do you do any sort of video of things like drinks and nibbles time, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
That's when I use a shotgun.
Right, just to get some hubbub type.
Yeah, just some hubbub type noise. Yeah, because you're not really bothered about what people are talking about, really. And in fact, you'd be intruding if you were recording it really properly. But it's just to get that ambient sound into the camera better than the camera mics would do it. Yeah,
I usually just use because it's that type that those sorts of clips are typically being played under an audio bed anyway, music bed.
Correct. Yeah.
So the onboard camera. For me is fine. Probably. Just to give a thing, but it would that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. I use when I'm running my sales training over Zoom or Teams. I've got it boomed up here off camera. You can't see it, but I've got a Rode video mic NTG, which I use as my Zoom mic, my Teams mic,
right?
Just boomed over my head, so I can talk without knocking.
Is that the one with the red sort of cage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it's just USB-C into my computer, into my Mac, so then I can talk. And people can hear me clearly, but I'm not knocking mics on stands and things like that, really.
Yeah.
So microphones, you could spend a whole day geeking out on microphones.
Oh gosh, yeah.
A little while. Yeah.
I've got the NT1 as well, the Rode NT1.
Oh, great!
And that's a beautiful mic as well for vocal,
mic,
for singing and music and stuff. Yeah. And
how's your music going, by the way? We haven't spoke about that for ages.
I know it's good. Yeah, I'm working on it's an oldish song, but I'm reimagining it. So I'm plugging away, but it's just having time at the moment.
Yeah,
it's not. But I've always got it set up here, and there's a plan in the future for the Nick Church Creative Academy to do sort of maybe guitar or music theory and things like that. So
I'll be your first customer.
Audio production using whether it's Logic or Ableton Live or Cubase or whatever else. I've used all of them. So
I'll be interested in that myself. Seriously, I've got a bass guitar upstairs that's going mouldy. And I can read music. I can follow music. I just can't read music. But if ever you need an aging tenor, that's more like a £5. No, actually more like a baritone these days.
Is baritone
I'm available.
Deeper?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. If ever you need, a bit of backing vocals, I'm available. My rates are very good. Yeah.
What sort of rates are we looking at?
Make me an offer, Nick. Make me an offer. You name the shows there being Calamity Jane, all the Gilbert and Sullivans. What have I been in? Loads of, I've probably been about 15 musicals, and I've also sung 4-part harmony SATB choirs as well, mainly because I'm male and I'm alive.
Yeah.
They're always short of men in these choirs.
Yeah, bit of a shoe-in. I'd love to do that. I'd love to do more performing and stuff. It's time at the moment. Because I am the sort of person, if I'm going to do something, I do like, I want to do it properly. I want, if I'm going to sing in a choir, for example, I want to make sure that I'm a regular and actually useful to them, and not just sort of dipping in and out when I can be bothered or got time.
It does take over your life. So the last show I did, it's 1 rehearsal a week, but if you're a principal, it's 2 rehearsals a week for about 3 months, and then the show week, it's a whole week. And then you're with people a lot, and all of a sudden show's over, and then you don't see them again. It's quite difficult, actually. It's quite hard. The highlight for me musically, and we probably should wrap up now because we are doing way away from photography. The highlight for me appearing on stage would have been about 2008 when I got to snog a girl half my age on my wedding anniversary on stage, which was interesting.
Oh, right.
And I was Wild Bill Hickok, and I got to snag Calamity.
I see. Right. I thought it was a like you were in a band and it was a fan that an amorous fan had jumped on the set.
No, it was the climax of Calamity Jane, which is a good show actually. Yeah, the Deadwood stage and all that stuff. Yeah, slap my thigh. And on which note, I think we should wrap this nonsense up now.
Okay. Oh, it's good content, man. This is what
content,
the listeners want. Yeah,
good bands. Yeah. 50 minutes has gone. We've been talking nonsense for 50 minutes, Nick, and it's gone, mate. But. I enjoy that. So I should just say that I am traveling an awful lot over the next few weeks. And I know you're super busy as well. So our frequency of the show might just drop off a little bit. So it might be we don't get one out every couple of weeks for a few months, but we do our best to keep up with it. But apologies. So if I'm
we'd hate the listeners to be sitting there looking at Spotify, waiting for it to drop, not be able to do anything else. We know that's how our listeners are. It
happens all the time, yeah.
So we're just giving you a heads up that you may want to have some other things to do for every now and again.
Like a life.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks a lot, dear listener, for joining us. If you like what we do, don't forget to give us a like and a follow on your favorite podcast app, Apple, Spotify, whatever ones you like as well. We're always interested in having potential guests on the show. If you've got a photography tale you'd like to tell, or a story you think people need to hear about your photography, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact the show on the email address I can never remember, Nick, which is
studio@thephotographypod.co.uk.
Thank you very much for that. Don't forget to check out Nick's Creative Academy if you are looking to expand your photography knowledge. The content there is great. I'm a lurker in his training academy, and there's some fantastic content in there. So don't forget to check that out and find out lots more about how to become better and better at your photography.
There's an article at the moment I've just put up about how to remove banding and silent shutter banding, which is proven pretty popular. Because there's a lot of people obviously like me that use silent shutter and they think, oh man, I forgot to turn it off and I've got banding in my pictures. But yeah, you can fix it in Lightroom. Lightroom.
Been there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go and look at that one myself as well, mate. So thanks for listening, dear listener. We'll be back hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. In the meantime, happy shooting out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you later.